About a year and a half ago, when it looked like Major League Baseball might have its season jeopardized by labor strife, I went on, that must have been several months worth of rants on this particular program, pleading for a fairer economic system. And as I'm speaking to you right now, 3 of the 4 teams still standing in the playoffs are from New York and Los Angeles. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, sports that have fair economic systems, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. It's funny that at the time I was talking about how baseball needs a salary cap and repeating day after day after day that every salary cap system comes with a floor that's within a tight range of the cap. So you never actually have to say cap and floor. You just say a salary cap system. I was simultaneously being criticized by some who thought that this was a way of defending how Bob Nutting does business. Because, it's taking the onus off Nutting and saying that it's all baseball's fault. To which I would respond, often colorfully, that it actually is possible to have, 2 different things be messed up at the same time. And that's the case here. That's exactly the case here. Baseball's system is a joke. It's perpetuated by a lot of the loudest voices in the game being based in New York and thus never really seeing what it's like in places that haven't seen a winner in far too long. And in their eyes, when they walk the streets of Manhattan today, they're going to see a city that's just energized by baseball, a city of 13 million people, our largest city. And to them, that's just everything's awesome. You will see, hear, and read from these people in the next couple of weeks things along the lines of how this is baseball at its best. This is the dream series if it ends up being the Yankees and Mets, the Subway Series. This is what the fans wanted to see. All this kind of crap. They'll do it ad nauseum. And to repeat, it's because they're there. I don't know that I'd be a whole lot different. When I covered the Penguins in their Stanley Cup finals in 2016 and 2017, that seemed to me like hockey was super healthy and vibrant everywhere. Why? Because I'm walking up to our arena through a crush of humanity, or to San Jose's or to Nashville's, and there's these country music stars playing on Broadway there, meaning Nashville's Broadway. And people are going nuts. And what was her name? The country singer who had a boyfriend on the Predators. Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood's there at every game. And it's like, oh, wow, this is just the biggest thing. And that's how they do it with baseball. When the actual truth is, it's terrible for baseball. It's the worst possible thing for baseball. And it would be the best possible thing if fans in all 30 markets entered each season with at least a sliver of hope. Not every year, and not if your team happens to stink at managing, whether that's building the team or instructing the team, then you don't deserve to be in there. But that's not where the hopelessness comes from in baseball. It's from the economic system. Now, how dare I say these things while at the same time criticizing Nutting? Well, to me, it's pretty basic. Nutting, as the owner of a franchise that's legitimately held back by the economic system, and whoever would own the Pirates, if he were to sell them later today, would experience the very same thing. Contrary to popular mythology, owners do not spend from their own pockets. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in baseball. It doesn't happen in any sport. These are business people, and they run their operations like businesses. The difference is they make very real efforts to prioritize winning within those businesses, whereas Nutting doesn't. So he's the worst of both worlds. He's undercapitalized, which limits the way in which he can do business and, by the way, the mindset. And it's not the number one most important thing to him. So what ends up happening is, even though he has done work behind the scenes to try to get some fairer system into play for the next labor agreement, it doesn't do anybody any good, because the owners of the higher revenue, higher spending teams look at him and look at the Pirates as either Exhibit A or Exhibit B, depending on how you view the Marlins, of what's most messed up about revenue sharing. And revenue sharing from the New York and Los Angeles perspective is the owners have to give up X amount of money every year to teams that are in the bottom handful when it comes to local revenues. The Pirates are always one of those, so the Pirates always get one of those checks. You are required to spend that on player payroll. And you know what? You can push the paper any which way you want to show that that's what you're doing. But everybody knows that the Pirates could be doing more. I know that they could be doing more. There has never been an excuse for the payroll to go below $100 million once it already broached that nearly 10 years ago. And because of that, and because everybody knows that, Nutting is the worst potential advocate for something like this, because he'd never be taken seriously. They would just see him as trying to find some other way to take a cheap or safe route, as opposed to trying to, make the Pirates good. All of that, for real, coexists. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
In lieu of the standard J1Q, and I apologize for saying that J1Q was coming next, because it's not. This is a note that was sent my way by Gabe Mazevsky. He's been in city politics for a long time, worked in the mayoral administration a few years back. And before I read it, what he's referring to as the SEA is the Sports and Exhibition Authority. That's a government authority in Pittsburgh. It's the authority that owns PNC Park, as well as our other two sporting venues. The SEA owns PNC Park. And Gabe says, I spoke at public comment this past Tuesday at the monthly SEA board meeting. That meeting is not routinely covered by media, and I was but one voice. This conversation is just beginning. Without naming names, the board members are begging for a public push to force this issue onto their agenda. Additionally, there are a bunch of local offices up for election next year. Mayor, 4 city council seats, 6 county council seats, and others. This is our chance to get organized to push this issue to the top of those races. The mayor and the county executive appoint those members. The SEA is the Pirates' landlord. It's really important that we approach this from the perspective that we, the public, through this public authority and its board, own PNC Park and set the terms with which we are comfortable as we approach the end of this lease. I'm going to let Gabe's words stand on their own, but when I have people asking me all the time, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Why don't you do something? You do something. Write some mean articles or something. There are things that can be done. Gabe is one of those people doing something. There are a lot of others. The Pirates' lease for PNC Park does expire, in 2030. And unlike most scenarios like this, they're the ones, meaning the SEA and the city and the county and the state, who are holding the cards here. Pirates can't move. They can't move. And all these other stakeholders have every right to demand accountability, to demand a quality product, and to demand answers as to where the original tax dollars, most of which were state tax dollars, went and how they're being applied and how this civic institution is being run into the ground. So don't waste my time by telling me there's nothing that can be done. Gabe's getting stuff done. Go to DK Pittsburgh Sports, open up my DK's Grind feed that's near the top of the site, always, and read Gabe's message in full and find out how to contact him. I appreciate Gabe. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to have another one of these tomorrow.